Well, good morning. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning.
We woke up to raindrops this morning again, and it's trying to sprinkle. Pretty overcast. Not exactly the kind of day I was hoping for, but you know what? We expected this and prepared for it, and it's all good. I was planning on going up toward Jordan Field today and looking at the plantations up there on top and seeing how badly burned they were. That's where we scattered Tom's ashes. But we may not go up there today just because the rain continues. It's just not going to be a good thing to do to drive up that road. So we shall see what we shall see. Any way you look at it, it's better for us to be out here than it is to be sitting at home nice and warm. Right? You have to convince yourself of that. It's all good. So anyway, today we'll see what we can see, if we can break down camp without getting everything too wet. Well, we're off with a blaze of glory. Got rained on this morning. It's just about 10 o'clock. I think we're going to head out toward Jordan Field and see if the road's real muddy. We might just not continue. We'll see how much rain they got out there. We got quite a bit of rain here, but with thunderstorms it's kind of spotty sometimes. We'll see what it looks like. That's Jordan Field down there. We're going up into that country up in there. Unless the roads are too muddy, and then we won't. These plantation trees here, I'm pretty sure from the Rack Fire. In 1989, the Rack Fire burned it, and this is where it ended up out here. And they planted those trees afterwards, and it looks like those made it through the fire, at least some of them. Don't know how far up the hill they stayed green, but at any rate, that was a good thing. My crew brushed this road in the early 2000s, but apparently it needs to be done again, and it probably won't be. This used to be a mighty pretty area. Looks like fire pretty much killed all the trees. There's a few green ones, not very many. And the brush is coming back on the road. But of course the wildflowers are blooming like crazy. That's all good. There's some paintbrush up here alongside the road. We're going to go up this road, and when we get up in here a ways, there's a plantation from the Ferris Fire of 1974, which was my first fire I was ever on. And the trees were getting really big in that plantation, and I'll bet you they're burned up now. We'll see. All these trees were plantation trees that were planted after the 1974 Ferris Fire. And they were doing pretty good before the Dixie Fire came through here. There's a few left, but not very many. Ferris 74 plantation trees, and looks like there's a nice patch here that made it. There's I'm sure my buddy Pete will be happy about this. He was silviculture back in those days. There's some areas that got burned up in here where we're going. But this little plantation here must have been in a favorable place when the fire burned through here. And the fact that they thinned this, I think, and I believe they stacked and burned it. I can't remember. That could have also been a factor here. Anyway, the road certainly needs some brushing. Well, this is the junction of where Artray Creek comes in. The Artray Creek Road is out that direction. This is the one we just came up, and we're going to go back down that one. It goes down to Jordan Field. This one here goes over into Ferris country. We were going to take that, but with all the brushing we've been doing on this road, we just spent a couple of hours brushing this road, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm done. So, but it's gratifying to see that these trees didn't get all ripped out of here. This is not a complete disaster. I'm very happy to see that. These are all plantation trees from the 1974 Ferris Fire. First fire I was ever on. So it's nice to see the plantations made it. I know Pete and Tom, if he was alive, would be happy to see this. So here's the area going back down toward Ferris country. When you get up on top here, it looks like it's burned pretty hot right up near the top. Didn't probably spot it over into these plantations here and didn't rip them out. But the area where we scattered Tom's ashes is that burned out area down there. That's probably pretty well nuked. So there's some big chunks missing here, but for the most part, it really doesn't look bad. The lot of plantations, a lot of this plantation area up here made it, and it doesn't look bad at all. With the exception of the really nuked areas that are kind of mosaiced in to the mix. And we're going down Artray Creek here, and going down the Artray Creek Road a little ways down into Artray Creek. Looks like it burned pretty hot down in there. So it's, I don't know, I guess that's all plantation down in there. It's been a long time since I've been on that road, so I don't really remember what's along that road. I know where it comes out down below. So, at any rate, this was a nice find to see that the plantations up here actually came out pretty good. So, not too unhappy with that, considering how unhappy I was with the way they fought this fire. Well, it's about the end of this trip. We're on our way home. We got rained on every day, hailed on yesterday, and it was all good. And
Part of the adventure.
Part of the adventure, and that's the whole point. It's all about the adventure. So we got to take a long ways back to where we live. There's a couple of ways we could go. We could drop down to the highway and take a highway back, but there's dirt roads almost all the way home. That's what we're going to do. So, thus ends our trip. We joke about this all the time. The guy on Oak Island, Curse of Oak Island, he's always talking about thus and i.e. And, you know, ergo, you know, uses all these little used words. I.e., people don't use I.e., that's something you use when you're writing. But anyway, thus, this trip ends. And we will patiently wait for the next one.